Well, news from Colombo in Sri Lanka, where India was supposed to take on Sri Lanka the second T20 international. That has been postponed after Krunal Pandya, the India all-rounder, tested positive for COVID-19. Remember, India, of course, won the ODI series 2-1 before this. They had taken a 1-0 lead in the T20I series, but unfortunately, this game has been postponed. It seems like it is likely to be played tomorrow, but if you were to look at the practicalities of it, it looks a little difficult. It looks a little far-fetched at this point. Before I get into the further details, remember the ODI series, the start of the ODI series was also delayed by 4 or 5 days after two members of the Sri Lankan support staff had tested positive for COVID-19. That's the kind of times we are living in. Krunal Pandya, of course, has been isolated. Both in the Indian and the Sri Lankan teams have been isolated. Um, a few players alongside Krunal Pandya have been isolated. They'll be monitored for some hours. Of course, they'll be tested. Some samples will be tested. Now, it's from what we understand, the game could be played tomorrow. It's been postponed by a day. But come to think of it, Krunal Pandya featured in all the three wanted internationals. He was there. He was in close proximity with the team. Of course, um, it now remains to be seen what happens. Also, Prithvi Shaw and Surya Kumar Yadav, the two players from that camp in Sri Lanka who were scheduled to travel to England, will they be able to travel now? They'll of course be tested alongside some of the others. What happens to the travel plans? That is again something we'll have to wait and watch. But the news is, as of now, the second T20 international between India and Sri Lanka has been postponed, has been suspended after Krunal Pandya tested positive for COVID-19. What happens to the rest of the series? What happens to the two players who were in Sri Lanka, Prithvi Shaw and Surya Kumar Yadav? Will they travel to England? Well, there are several questions. Who were the players in close proximity with Krunal Pandya who will be tested immediately, who have been isolated immediately? Those are questions we'll try to find answers out for. But yes, this is a lot of people are reacting. In fact, Shishdeep Malik is stunned beyond belief at this point. Do you think Bhuvi should travel to England? Well, John is asking that. Well, Surya and Prithvi were scheduled to travel. We don't know what is going to happen at the stage. And well, Bhuvaneshwar was not scheduled to. But if you're asking from a perspective of what the combination of the lineup should be, um, it is very, very difficult to at this stage ascertain what is going to happen to the two players who were supposed to travel to England. Anubhav, see what if other players start testing positive? This is, as much as hate to admit it, but there is a genuine scare that a few of the others might just. But then we are keeping our fingers crossed. We do not know of any other positive cases in the Indian camp as of now. Krunal Pandya was the only Indian player who tested positive. So we are not going to comment on the unknown. I'm not going to venture into the unknown till we have more news. Till we have concrete confirmation of what comes of the tests and what we get to know after these players and the teams have been isolated. So for as of now, this is what we know. Krunal Pandya tested positive for COVID-19. The second T20 international between India and Sri Lanka has been postponed. Both India and Sri Lanka, both the teams have been isolated. Krunal Pandya, obviously, a few players alongside him have been isolated. They'll be monitored. Some players will be tested. We don't know how many. We don't know who. But like I said, I'm not going to venture into the unknown. We will not comment on anything else until we have answers and we have evidence to suggest that more players could have been infected. So we're not getting into that at all. But yes, this is not the first time something like this has happened. There have been in the pandemic era, you've seen certain cricket tournaments postponed. The IPL was an example. A few players tested positive. Then when it really picked up, the COVID-19 second wave, it started raging, and they had to call it off. And now the second half of that IPL 2021 will be played in the UAE from September. The dates were, of course, announced a few days back. But what was the breach in protocol? How Krunal Pandya ended up testing positive? India have, of course, been in Sri Lanka for the last several weeks. They were there a few days, well before the ODI series got underway. How Krunal tested positive, how the virus infected him is something that, again, those are questions we are going to wait on answers for. That's the latest. That's what we have on sports today. Thank you so much for joining me. Do subscribe to the channel, and we'll of course see you with plenty more on the Olympics and how India's day went. Of course, Boria Mojumdar will join you in some time. And of course, he's been getting you lots of these exclusive interviews and his fluent analysis of the games so far. So thank you so much for joining me. Hope to see you very soon with more updates on what's going down in Sri Lanka. Thank you so much.